evil is someone that has negative and bad agenda, cruel agenda towards humanity. If you're that type of person, you get up in the morning and you got agendas on an individual or on a community, you are an evil person. I don't care how you justify it. That's why, you know, the American government, they got to be very careful because, well, I already think they're dabbling in evil, if you ask me. I mean, because they've always had for a long time, they had bad and cruel intentions by African Americans. They were evil. They were not just bad people. They had negative and cruel intentions by a certain part of humanity. See what I'm saying? See the difference? Racism is not bad. Racism is evil because it has bad and negative intentions. They just get up and wake up like that. You know what I mean? And so those are denominations of evil. And you have also witches and warlocks, psychics and telepaths. And to me, these are all mutated gifts. They think that their gift comes from God, but God doesn't give you the ability to read minds. So where does it come from? It is a mutated gift that is mutated. And I dare to challenge any psychic or any telepath to go back into their life as a young kid. And did you see any grooming, spiritual grooming by individuals or even by spirits? Were you encountering spiritual activity and going through some type of spiritual interaction with spirits? Or were you going through a grooming from a witch or a warlock or a seasoned already psychic or telepath? I guarantee you more times than not, these psychics and telepaths and witches and warlocks even, a lot of them were groomed from a young age, which on that side, we call that spiritual mutation. Because everything that is from the spiritual world is from God. Everything, everything is from God that is created. So if you have something that is created and you're using it and it's not of God, that means it went through a mutation. It went through a mutation. Now, you may have not been able to track that mutation. And see, what you have to understand is, you psychics and telepaths, is that there are real spirits out here. And they can see, like some of you can see, the auras around people. They can see energies around people. And they can see that around you as a young kid. They can see that around you. And then they communicate that with a higher chain of command in the satanic kingdom. They see who you are. They can either go get other spirits, come back with other spirits. They can communicate your information and details and begin to set up a grooming process. This is a very sophisticated, Satan's kingdom is very sophisticated. And a lot of y'all don't realize that. So when you got out into the world after like maybe 4 or 5 years old, let's just say when you start going to school in kindergarten, the grooming process started then. It started then because you was out in the world. You were among demons. I'm gonna say it just like it is. You were among demons. They saw you going back and forth to school. They They are cruel. They're not good spirits. They can go to school. They can see kids just for the sake of seeing auras and things around them and saying, okay, that's their breed, that's their grounds of recruiting. They're not gonna get these old people that's almost in the grave. So the spirits can go to schools, not to make them shoot up a school, to go and see what kids are special and begin and to see the auras that's around them. And then begin the grooming process. So I imagine that, okay, you're out of school by the time you're what, 18, right? Which means you're an adult by the time you come out of high school, basically. So what does that mean to me? That Satan, now here's an epiphany of thought. Satan begins to send his spirits to schools so that he can start the grooming process on individuals. You think he's going to wait till you're 18? You think Satan's kingdom is going to stand back and wait till you're 18 to begin a grooming process, or begin to recruit you after 18? You think he's going to start it after 18? So what does it mean to what that means to me is he sends his demons, high-ranking demons that are able to see auras and special gifts around children, because there's human beings that can do it. There's human beings that can see auras. Around people, and they can kind of read what that is, right? How much more can demons and high-ranking demons and spirits in Satan's kingdom, how much more can they do it? And so they can see it at a young age. They can see it in through all of grade school. And so they're not going to wait till you're 18. They're going to start the grooming process while you're in school. So guess what? The devil goes and he's proactive, which you should know that he's proactive about getting his people as well. Well, these people don't just wind up witches and warlocks for no reason. They don't realize that they were put through a grooming process. They don't realize it. Satan is very proactive about recruiting individuals for his kingdom. I know you thought you did it on your own. You thought it was all about you. It was all you coming to the kingdom of Satan. You thought that was you. Nah, I guarantee you, if you look closely back at your life, you were hand selected by demons and people, and you were put through a grooming process. And that's how you became a telepath, a psychic, witch, or warlock. Demon spirits, once you got among the living, once you got into the earth, which your first, think about it, your first years of coming into the earth, out into the world, is school. Right or wrong, guys? That's your first years of going out into the world. So Satan wants to get you young as possible. That's one of his rules right there. If anybody knows something about the kingdom of darkness, they come after you young as possible. As young as you can be. So if you're in school from 5 to 18, that's 13 years in school. You don't think he's gonna come after you during in that time? So that's what he do. He follows you. He has satanic spirits, his spirits there at school, all from grade school, middle school. Now you see the kingdom of darkness. And he watches and see the special kids. the ones with real gifts, powerful auras around them, high-ranking angels around them, and they begin to fight and struggle for those kids. There may be it might be one of God's children, and then a struggle starts. And that's why you have some people in and out of doing bad as kids, acting up in school, doing this and that. There's a struggle for that soul. I'm showing you the evil side. I'm showing you how it happens. Because some of you just are naive and you think these people pop up as witches and warlocks and psychics and telepaths. They just popped up that way. They just decided to be that way. What would Satan's kingdom be if he just waited for people to just come to him? Think about it now. If he just waited, you think he's going to wait for people to come to him and do his work? Think about it. So use your brain. That's what you have it for. He begins a grooming process. He is proactive about recruiting humanity to his kingdom. So he goes out and he gets his special people. You know, you have some people that pop up in his kingdom and they decide they're late bloomers and they decide to be there. Then you have those who he grooms from a young age, and he works on them and he grooms them, and some of them never know. They'll think about it. They'll tell you, well, I had this uncle that kind of introduced me to some things and some dark stuff, or I had a grandmother that, or an uncle, or a grandfather that introduced me to some things. And that was the grooming process. Those spirits seen these kids out in the world. Once they went out in the world to these schools, there are spirits there. It is cruel, but this war between good and evil is cruel. These spirits are there at the schools. And then when they're there, they see who's special. And they follow them, they communicate, they follow them, and the grooming process begins at work, at their house, their parents, people that they feel could groom this child, and other people's friends, music, everything. The grooming process begins. And so now that child has been seen by spirits at school, now they have a collective amount of spirits that's watching over them to groom them. So now they're being groomed from elementary to middle school to high school and even into college. And some people never pay attention to it. Then you come out of college and now you're interested in New Age, and you're interested in black magic and voodoo and hoodoo and Santeria. Now you're interested in all these things. But if you pay attention, you were groomed through your life. And you have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of it. And so they think by the time the grooming process ends and the gifts are charged and there's some person that comes to them that opens up, blooms the flower, if you will. Presents the finished product to the world. By this time, they think, naive people, they just think, oh, cool, I'm interested in that. Because you've been groomed. You were groomed the whole time. You didn't know it. So now the gifts that you had that were from God, because all great good gifts come from God. Satan is not a creator. All he can do is corrupt. He cannot make anything. If he could make stuff, we would have been done. He is a high-ranking angel. That's all he is. Angels cannot create. Okay? An angel cannot create. All Satan can do is corrupt and mutate. So when these spirits see these children that have special God-given gifts, and they have strong auras around them, beautiful colors of auras around them, and things like that, right? Satan begins his kingdom through his demons, begin to mutate the God-given gifts that they have, these children have, which explains why people actually do have spiritual gifts. It went through a mutation, and now you're reading brains. Now explain to me, this is one thing I'll tell psychics, because they'll say, well, I have a God-given gift. No, let me tell you something. Here's how I shut them down. Why would God give you, as a human, power over other humans' brains? Think about it now. That's too much power. So why would he give you, what makes you as a human being flawed, not perfect, which you could do anything with the information, you could manipulate people in any kind of way because you're human. You could change, you could fluctuate, you could become a bad person and use this gift. So in God's infinite wisdom, why would he give you that much power over another human being? You're human. You could do anything. You're not perfect. So why would he give you power to read somebody else's thoughts when your thoughts are not perfect? That means your gift went through a mutation. Through the satanic kingdom, to where your brain is connected to satanic power. And it went, and your gift connected with all of that, and it went through a mutation. Now you get it? Because there's no way in the world you could ever convince me that God would give that much power to a human being, him being God. Why would God give power to other human beings that could use this gift against humanity? I mean, even leaders. Leaders could know what other people are doing, other leaders are doing, what other leaders are thinking, and all of this. I mean, this could really go up the ladder, if you will, concerning people, and we could all be manipulated by someone that can read minds. So why would God give a person that gift? He would not do that. He would, because in all actuality, there's no humans that's even worthy. Here's another nugget of information. There's no human beings that are even worthy to read the thoughts of other people's minds, because spiritually speaking, you're no better. So you're not high ranking enough in purity to be able to invade someone else's thoughts when your thoughts are just as dirty as theirs. So why should you have access if you're not as high ranking, morally speaking, just from the moral standpoint? You shouldn't have access because you're no more morally clean than they are. So you could do anything with what they think. You can manipulate and do anything with it because you're human. You're just as morally unclean as that person that your brain that you're reading. So why, in God's infinite wisdom, why would he give hundreds of thousands of people, millions even, this gift? when they can do anything and manipulate humanity with it. Now you understand. And see, this separates the men from the boys. Because only God can reveal something like this to me. You tell me why you ain't had nobody else explain it to you like this, did you? It was a mutation process that gift went through. And Satan used it for his kingdom. So you need to be delivered. That's what a lot of you psychics and telepaths don't know. No, you need God to take and crush that grooming, satanic grooming process that happened to you. Probably started from when you was a child. You need to ask God to free you from this. It's not a gift from God. It's a mutated gift that started as a gift from God, but was mutated by the satanic kingdom. You were a victim of the satanic kingdom, and you just didn't know it. And so you've been esteemed as, oh, someone special, someone, gifted. No. I'm not trying to break your heart, but you're the closest thing to a mutant. You're the closest thing to an X-Man. Me and you are not the same. Me and you are not the same. And you want me to tell you how you know, and here's the punchline. You want me to tell you how you know you're dealing with a mutated gift that was mutated by the satanic kingdom? Let me tell you how you know. Because why can't you tell us the most important things about our leaders in society? Why can't you tell us the most important things about Donald Trump? You had no psychics that could tell us this. You had no telepaths that could tell us this. They all riding around, right? But why couldn't they tell us about Donald Trump? Why couldn't they tell us about Nixon and Watergate? Why couldn't they tell us about Clinton and what he really did? Why couldn't they tell us about none of these assassins in our country? JFK, what really happened? The Kennedys, what really is going on? Why couldn't they tell us about none of these things? There's a block right there, right? Where you could really be used for society, you are not used. Explain that to me. Well, we really need you with people like Donald Trump. We really need you with people like Joe Biden. They messed up 20 years of progress in Afghanistan. And all these mass shooters and crazy people that's going around and shooting around. Okay? And so as you can see, they don't read the minds of these people. And can you explain why they don't do that? Out of all these millions of psychics that's in the country, can you explain why there is no force, psychic force or telepath force that are reading what the government is doing? Why can't they penetrate what the government is doing? Why can't they penetrate, not just if it's even one of them? Why can't there be any agents that penetrate really what the government is doing? Why can't they do that? And here's the punchline. Why can't these psychics and telepaths, if they're really good, why can't they see the obvious things like 44 states marrying children? That's a 7. That's a 7. Epiphany of thought, in other words. A revelation, in other words. Okay, you got all these psychics and telepaths. You like to shake your booty and show how gifted you are. but you wasn't gifted enough to show us that 44 states were marrying children. Now, this is public information. By the way, so why, with all your spiritual gifts, you had no telepaths or psychics that knew this information? We're going with brain reading, right? We're going with reading of the thoughts. We're going with reading of the information. Well, how come they didn't read that information? You can't explain stuff like that, King. I can explain it. They are groomed by the satanic kingdom to do his goofy clown work, and they don't do no real work where we need them, which more explains or more prove that they're working for the satanic kingdom. Well, if you're working for the satanic kingdom, you're not going to reveal 44 states marrying children, are you? I don't think so. I don't think the satanic kingdom want that revealed, which would make sense why no psychics revealed it. No psychics revealed it because they're connected to the satanic kingdom. They just don't know they are. He deceives them to make them think they have a gift. Yeah, you got a gift, but it's been mutated by the satanic kingdom and groomed by the satanic kingdom for his purposes. Because you can't explain to me why all of this stuff we find out later. Where was you? Where were you when we needed to know about 44 states marrying children? Where were you at? So then you're not, even though you can read minds, you're not as high ranking as me when I reveal 44 states marrying children and you can read minds. But you couldn't reveal that. So guess what that means? I'm more high ranking than you are. Well, with all your brain reading and all your mind reading and telepathy, you can't seem to see the obvious. You can't seem to see the obvious. The obvious is 44 states marrying children. It's right here. It's in plain English. And you got all the telepathy and psychic power in the world, but you couldn't see something right in front of you. That's where I doubt you. And that's where I know I am more high ranking than you are. Because I am led to reveal things and you can't explain it. Can you explain how I revealed this? And your whole American community didn't even know it. Can you explain how the whole American community didn't know it and I revealed it? Can you explain that? Psychics didn't reveal it. The American culture didn't reveal it. Your greatest celebrities and musicians and rappers and singers didn't reveal it. None of them don't know nothing about it. So it shows who's really spiritual. When it comes down to stuff like this. Because a real spiritual person is going to be led to this information. They're going to be led to the truth. You know what the Bible says? The Holy Ghost shall lead you into all truth. And that's what happened. I was led to all the things about your community while you were sitting up here thinking you had me. Yeah, see, I was just a spiritual person that you esteemed as bizarre and weird. I'm just a spiritual person. That explains everything. I don't need to say nothing else. Spiritual people get it. Good spiritual people get it. So see, you're not as spiritually powerful as you think you are. You're kind of quite, from what I see, these American telepaths and American psychics, you're quite arrogant because you think that with your gift you're doing something and you're effective with what you're doing. And if you were really effective, then why can't we use you to see what the government is doing? Why can't we use you with top secret information? I'm just being real. We can't use you for none of that. But you can read minds though. But we can't use you for that. Then what are you worth? What are you worth? Just going by and reading some random thoughts of people? That's not good enough for me to esteem you among the league that I'm in. I'm just letting you know, you're not in league with me, buddy. You're way out of league. Okay? You're way out of league. Because all you doing is sitting up reading thoughts and you can't take it to where we needed to take it, to where these police and all this other stuff that's going on. You can't do none of that part. You can't do none of that part. You can't go to the FBI and see what's going on. You can't go to CIA. You can't go to the bunkers. You can't see top secret information. Now I'm being real 100. They're around here reading minds. Why they can't do it somewhere else in the White House? Why can't they take it there? It's just as simple, right? That's what I'm saying. And that leads me to think you can't cross over to doing good. Here's the punchline, because you're connected